One of Shadow Generation's key gameplay mechanics are the Doom powers. They are key to traversal and beating many of these levels. But I forgot how to activate them and can't really be bothered to learn. Can we beat Shadow Generations without Doom powers? Really quickly, let's just list the abilities that we can't use. Doom Spheres is an upgraded Chaos Sphere that targets multiple enemies. We can still use Chaos Sphere, but we're just going to have to be really careful not to target multiple enemies or targets. Doom Surf allows Shadow to surf on the water. Doom Morph, which allows Shadow to climb and swing. Doom Blast, which launches enemies into the air and then throws them a great distance, allowing Shadow to teleport to them. And finally, the Doom Wings, which allows Shadow to glide through the air. We are still able to use Chaos Control, as it's not a Doom power, and is a base Shadow ability. To begin with, Space Colony Arc is a very easy level. In Act 1, we don't even have access to Doom powers. Act 2, on the other hand, grants us temporary access to the Doom Wings and forces the transformation on us. However, all it does is let you glide, so as long as we don't actually glide, we're not technically using power, and we'll just use Shadow's default moveset, and I say it's fine. We just need to be careful about boosting in the air, but with that, Zone 1 of 6 is finished, and other than that very close call, it should be pretty smooth sailing throughout the rest of the game. Oh. So as soon as we gain the Doom Spheres, we're forced into a tutorial where we have to use them. We can't do anything else. So now I'm changing the mindset. This is now a minimalist run. Let's beat the game using the least amount of Doom powers. We have to use it once at this door and make our way to Rail Canyon before yet another one of these doors. Even using Chaos Control to fire multiple Chaos Spheres don't work. We need to use Doom Sphere again. And now that is 2 times we've used Doom powers. Thankfully, Rail Canyon is another zone where we don't actually have to use any Doom powers. All we have to do is make sure we're locking on to one enemy at a time with Chaos Sphere, and we're golden. Both Act 1 and 2 are beaten with complete ease. With the first of 2 zones cleared, we gain another Doom power, and once again, we're forced to use it in a tutorial. To unlock the Bio Lizard, we must complete 3 sets of challenge acts, of which 4 of them are unlocked. Jumping ahead a bit here, but by the end of the game, we will have to have cleared all of these challenges. Let's just get them out of the way now. Again, these are relatively easy. The only one worth mentioning is aim and fire with Chaos Sphere. We just need to be careful and make sure we're only locked onto a single target at a time, and we're fine. Now that we have all these keys, we can get back up to that Bio Lizard stage. Normally, you just be able to warp. But this is kind of funny. Yes, we can only do that after opening the level, not after discovering it. There also seems to be no other way up to the top of that tower, so we're using Doom Blast again. The Bio Lizard can easily be defeated without Doom powers. The only thing we need to make sure of is, once again, not to lock onto multiple targets while he's firing the orbs at us near the end. With the Bio Lizard defeated, we head back to the hub world. We learn yet another Doom power, and yet again, we are forced into using it. This time is Doom Surf, which allows us to traverse water, so now we'll have to avoid it. We will count Surf for every time Shadow animates into it, and that's going to be the same for Morph as well, just, ahead a bit. The next zone is Kingdom Valley. With this being the first zone after learning Surf, it makes sure we use it. Act 1 starts off well enough, but we end up needing to use Surf. While we are forced to use Surf, we can minimise transforming into it by remaining in the water as long as we can. We end up having to use Surf a couple more times, with my total coming up to 3. Act 2 is a lot easier because it's based mostly indoors, which allows us to avoid the water from the rest of the zone. By the end of the zone, we are roughly halfway finished, and we've only had to use Doom powers 8 times. Sunset Heights is the toughest level yet. Act 1 is more or less fine, as long as we don't use Doom Blast and just defeat the enemies normally, which usually, or just release a pulley, that will take us all the way to where we would need to use Doom Blast. It's Act 2 that the challenge really starts beginning. This level single-handedly delayed the video by a day. We can skip a use of the surf near the beginning of the level by taking a weird zigzag-like pattern back down and up and down and whatnot. There's another surf to skip, but so long as we do an air dash, we should be able to hit the spring and it will take you higher up. Shortly after that, there is yet another surf we can skip, using some insane platforming skills, followed by a homing attack. The stage gets progressively easier after that point, with just some simple jumps, until it doesn't. We are forced to go underground into the sewers, and are met with countless extended parts of water. We take some weird routes through the level, but near the end of this section, we are met with 3 unpassable stretches of water. We are able to finesse our way around a few of them, but the final count to Sunset Heights is 3 Doom powers used. We now need to make our way to the next boss gate before the challenge acts become available. We used 2 sets of Doom Spheres and 2 sets of Doom Blasts. Yikes. Now for the challenge acts, which go smoothly, for the most part. Kingdom Valley Crush with Surf Spin, a challenge dedicated entirely to using the Surf's main ability. We can minimise the damage this does by sweeping through the dash rings to stay in the transformation. The lowest I think we can possibly get is 2. Before we can move on, we need to travel back to the boss gate. While the doors remain open, we do still need to use Doom Blast twice again. Double yikes. Metal Overlord takes place exclusively in water. There is also a second force transformation in the phase transition. So long as we don't use the ramps and attack him slowly with the ship rubble, we can beat him with only 2 Doom powers used. We once again unlock a new Doom power, and once again are forced into using it. We get a double whammy for this one, because to get to the stage we need to do it again. Chaos Island was the level I was dreading. It is the most gimmicky focused zone, utilising the newly acquired Doom Morph power. To my surprise, Act 1 was difficult, yes, but didn't outright require it for progression. As long as you thought outside of the box with your jumping and platforming, we can definitely get through without a single Doom power until the end. We can literally see the gold ring, but our air boost just isn't enough, and we use Morph once to beat Act 1 in the final stretch. But honestly, this was a pretty successful act. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than that. Introducing Act 2. The beginning is really promising, and then it nosedives into a slow linear level where we have to use Morph 5 times to climb walls. We need to climb walls, ceilings constantly, with no way of doing it without Morph, so we had a total of 6 from Chaos Island in total. Again, we have to reach the boss gate before the challenge acts appear. To head towards it, even with platforming and cutting out transformations, we still end up needing 3 more transformations. I was hoping to be able to bounce off these lamps at some point in the level, but we had no luck. The collision was too polished. Now for the Chaos Islands challenge acts, and I am committed. We're not using a single Doom power in any of these 4 levels. The hardest one of these is probably going to be crossover with Doom Morph. While I had my doubts with this level, with a bit of skill we can actually just jump around most of these obstacles, or simply just jump and air dash across them. With all that out the way, the rest have got to be in the bag. So we completed all of the challenges and didn't need Doom powers once until we hit a wall. Literally. Okay, whatever, 1 more Doom power has been used. Whatever. We then need to go back to the boss stage, and I thought we could be sneaky by going down the shortcut that's unlocked, but obviously that won't work because that'd be too convenient. Another 3 Doom powers needed to get back to that boss gate. Mephiles is a pretty easy fight. We just need to experiment to find the fewest amount of Doom powers we need to use. We end up using 6 in total to defeat it. We acquire the last Doom power, the Doom Wings. We are forced into using it, of course. 1 cutscene later, and we are confronted with a test of all the Doom powers. However, we can actually do it with just the Doom Wings and some good timing. We will first need to glide to the bridge, but once we reach it, if we hug the ledge and do a double jump away from the wall, we can actually homing attack onto the spring. Up ahead, it looks like we can't reach that dash ring, but if you position yourself perfectly on the ledge, we can just about reach it with a double jump. Defeat the enemy intended for Doom Blast, and then finally glide into the stage. Before starting Radical Highway, it looked impossible to me, as normally you are using the Doom Wings constantly, and while it does activate forcefully in Act 1, the zone itself doesn't actually require any of the Doom powers at all. Well, you know, so long as you can utilise Shadow's base abilities really well. Unfortunately, with that, there's not all that much to say. Just make sure we don't air boost, or that will make us glide. With that, the final zone is finished, and all that awaits us is Black Doom. Devil Doom's fight is easy, but requires concentration to use the fewest number of Doom powers. To begin, we surf several times and need to figure out the smallest number of transformations needed. I found that that was 5. We want to skip the first optional ramp, but we jump on the second, as we need the transformation anyway. But after that second optional ramp, we stick to the ground and ignore all the other ramps. That should give us only 5 transformations. Now for phase 2. I tried to beat it without Morph, but the air boost simply just doesn't reach that far. The next best thing is to stay transformed the whole time. It's a bit finicky, but we were able to beat this phase with only 3 transformations. We are forced to use Doom Wings for this fight, so for one final time, we add 1 to the total. We destroy Black Doom and send him to the abyss of Shadow the Hedgehog 3. I guess it's kind of clickbait to call this Shadow Generations without Doom powers, seeing as our final total was 54. That is a lot higher than I was expecting when we first began, and I know we can definitely get this number lower, especially in the hub world, so I leave it to all of you watching. If you have any idea whatsoever on cutting down on any of these areas, put your suggestion in the comments, or if you feel fancy, make a YouTube video and send a link through the comments. You should leave a like because it's only polite, and leave immediately so I can continue to play Shadow Generations.